Well, if you use Facebook, you better choose your friends on the website wisely. They may actually be negatively affecting your credit score.
Wow, that's right. Bad friends could mean bad credit, at least to some banks. Here to explain how and why this is happening is the owner of the credit repair agency Better Qualified, Paul Astier. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, Paul, you got to help us out here because I've heard of employees firing people for posting inappropriate things on Facebook or, kicking in at the beach when they're called in sick, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
Yep.
It actually happened. But now you're saying that your Facebook friends can actually affect your credit score.
100%. Not only your credit score for banking, it's also used for insurance purposes.
Really?
So the worst part about this is when this hit the wire the other day, I'm the CEO of a credit repair company called Better Qualified. I did not realize this has been going on for 3 years.
You're
Wow.
kidding.
Since 2010, insurance companies have been using social media data to determine premiums for life insurance.
So how does it work exactly? So if your friend or your Facebook buddy has bad credit, that reflects upon you in real life?
That's really only with certain creditors. But
Okay.
the big picture says, if I'm an insurance company and you apply for a $5 million life insurance policy, I want to know what you do every day. And I can find that out in 2 seconds.
Okay.
The company itself does not do it, the bank or the insurance company. There are companies that have come out of the woodwork, so to speak. They're data aggregate companies, and they compile data on all of us every single day. Every time you make a post, they capture it. And they want to know, are you at Burger King? Are you at McDonald's? Are you at the bar 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week? Are you skydiving, jet skiing? What are you doing every single day?
That could make you a high-risk
That's right.
candidate.
Now, as an insurance company, I can ask you for a filter or numerous filters. I want to know, have you asked your friends in the past year about a bankruptcy attorney? Because if I'm a bank, I might not lend you any money.
Oh, okay, but I can see
So
how
Big Brother
smoking-
is really watching.
Oh, it's
monitoring every second.
everything
scary.
that we do.
Wow. Okay, so I can imagine why they see you posting pictures of you smoking on Facebook, then that may say, okay, they're not going to live as long as they're smoking or something like that. And that if you're smoking, if you're hanging around friends that are smoking, then maybe you will start smoking. But has there actually been a study that proves that shady Facebook friends could be shady credit?
Not specifically for credit yet, but the
Okay.
data has already been collected. So the data already shows that if you hang around people that smoke, you're more likely to smoke. If you hang around people that are obese, you're more likely to become obese. So
Wow.
in lack of a better cliche, and I've been thinking about this all night,
Okay.
but birds of a feather flock together.
Really?
And there's a reason why you hang out with the people that you hang out. And Big Brother wants to know who you're hanging out with.
So if you have athletic, thin friends who, drink green juice all the time and only eat salads, then you are more, you're more acceptable to a
You're
credit-
more attractive.
More attractive, exactly.
To an insurance company, for sure. It's called predictive modeling, and it's been going on forever.
Predictive modeling.
Predictive modeling.
Okay.
But now social media has made it real easy. So in the past, when an insurance company may hire a health professional to come out to your house and ask you lots of questions, takes an hour. I did it back in the day when I applied for health insurance, life insurance. They don't want to do that anymore. They want to say to a data company, tell me all about Lola. And they can get it, and more accurate data, because when they're asking you questions, you might lie. You might say, no, I never smoked.
Right.
And if you only smoke once in a while, you probably pass the test.
That's true.
But on Facebook, they're going to look at your pictures and scan.
And if you've got a cigarette in your hand, every other picture, that's a
Done.
problem.
Done.
So which companies primarily are doing this?
Well, they're not forthright and forthcoming with who is using it yet.
So it's a little
The attorneys
duplicitous then.
have weighed in.
Okay.
Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, specifically for banking and credit, it says any written, oral, or otherwise communicated information falls under that act, and we're protected somewhat. But the only protection really says is if they use the information, they have to let you know about it. So they may say that we declined your application, or your premium is higher because of this information that we found on social media sites.
But which company would actually admit that?
Right.
Who will
They
say
have to.
They have to.
If
by
they
law?
that's the law. So we do
Really?
have some protections in place. If they're using it, they have to disclose that they're using
So
it.
you can actually say to a person, the reason you're paying a higher premium is because there are 15 photos of you
That's
twerking.
Right. But here's the problem with that.
Twerking and smoking and
Here's
drinking,
the problem
and
with
we
that.
don't trust
How did they
you.
get that information in the first place? And I'll ask you because I'll admit it. Until yesterday, I've never read the terms and conditions, terms and usage policy for Facebook. Have you ever read it?
No,
I've read it only for story purposes.
Right.
That's
So
it.
most people, when they
haven't.
download it onto their phone, it says, "Do you accept these terms and conditions?"
Yeah, check.
Accept.
And you allow them
Read
to
them
put everything
because
out.
it's amazing. And here's one clip that I've taken,
Okay.
and it blew my mind.
What?
Okay, it's the data use policy. What does Facebook use your data for? And it's not only you. If after this show today, I send you a friend request because I can look you up very easily. Your name is always public. That means it's visible to anybody in the world.
Right.
Okay, so I put your name in. I send you a friend request. If you accept it, this is what we get. We also put together data from the info we already have about you and your friends. So
you're
we
giving them
just
access to
became
friends.
one. And the man backstage said it best. We just merged our universes.
So wait, just because Lola is accepting you as a friend, that means that they can now get to both of your information.
That is exactly correct.
Wow. That's very interesting. Okay,
That's
so
mind-blowing, actually.
Mind-blowing.
But
and it's more than that. There's pages and pages and pages of privacy policies and things that people should really use before they consider. It's an application. It's called an app for a reason. Consider it like a bank application. Before you answer that question, you should think about it. And nobody thinks about it. They just say yes.
everybody
I
wants to be on
accept it.
Facebook real quick.
Everybody wants it.
But how realistic
Wow.
is this? Is it really being used that often that we should be concerned about it?
It's been being used for 3 years. I almost felt like the Edward Snowden thing is happening right before my eyes. Because once this hits the airwaves today, people are going to say, what are you talking about? I applied for life insurance 2 years ago and was denied. I thought I was in good shape. I thought I did all the right stuff. Maybe they took a peek at your Facebook page and saw you were bungee jumping or base jumping off of some building somewhere.
Skydiving or something,
Skydiving,
yeah.
anything.
Okay,
you know,
so-
you like to eat raw, exotic foods. You went on a trip. You did this. You did that. People disclose that information.
So what's the
should-
key? Should we not
Yeah.
post these pictures? What if we want to share the fact that we jumped out of a plane and
The
survived
very
with our
first thing
friends? What should we do?
the first step that you can take, there are some things to do to protect yourselves, is don't make your information public.
Okay.
If you just want to share it with your friends, that's a different level of security.
So put your privacy settings on your
Put your
Facebook
privacy
page.
settings.
Okay.
They're out there. It's easy. Go to your settings page and change it from public to friends only. Most people, because by default, Facebook makes it public. You have to change it to friends only. And if you don't do that, that information is public to everybody in the world.
But here's the thing, you could also manipulate the system.
Oh, yes, you
so
could.
You could
Then let me go out and get some good friends.
you could go out, you know,
Balance it out.
rent a
I'm going
friend.
to send you guys friend requests.
Yeah. You know, to make yourself look like you said, more, you know,
Now that
more
people
palatable
are
to these
aware of it,
people.
and I think they've done let's call them the big data companies and the banks, they've done a good job at not having this become public information because it's been happening for 3 years. I'm the CEO of a credit company. I did not know this was happening.
Wow. So who has to be concerned about this? Just people without established credit on Facebook or people going after life insurance?
I think, if you're less than perfect credit, if you're an 800, you don't have anything to worry about.
Okay.
But if you're less than
So you
perfect
can
credit,
bungee jump
and
all
they
you
start
want to.
going down,
If we have 800.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
they start going down the tier system and they say, okay, if you're a 620 or below, I want to know a little bit more about this person. So those are the folks, unfortunately, and most people fall into that category. Less than 5% of people in the country are 700 or above.
So does this mean we should just go do some, Facebook house cleaning and be like, oh no, you can't be my friend, can't be my friend?
Well, I don't know about that, but the first thing I would do is change your privacy setting.
Okay.
From public to friends only.
Well, what about
Okay.
other social media sites like Twitter, Instagram? There are other places out there. Can they collect information from that
They
as well?
can, but think about the information that's posted on Twitter and LinkedIn. It's not as private
Right.
as Facebook. Facebook is Saturday night, I had much too much, I'm drunk posting.
Right.
Drunk texting, drunk posting. I'm putting something on there that doesn't belong on
Right.
there,
No,
and
right.
it could come back to haunt you. So pay attention to what you're doing, pay attention to who you accept as a friend. If you don't know somebody, obviously don't accept them as a friend. They're not your friend.
They're not your friend. And young people in particular need to be mindful of this. Right.
Couldn't have said it better. The thing that struck me also was about Snapchat. right? There was a big concern
That's
about
nasty,
photos.
Snapchat,
Exactly,
yeah.
right? So parents are preaching to their kids like I preach to my son. If you take a picture and you post it on Facebook, it's there forever.
It lives forever.
So some genius, a programmer, comes up with a program called Snapchat. You know what Snapchat
I
is?
sure do.
I can send you anything I want. Once you open it, it self-destructs in 3, 5, 10 seconds.
Wow.
But does it really destruct?
No.
Never.
Where does
Never.
it go? Never.
Never. It lives
There's a
somewhere.
digital, it lives forever in a cloud.
Yep.
And when it rains, it's going to pour on somebody.
Ooh. Well, and speaking of that, especially with the
That was
young
good,
people,
right?
it's going to pour.
That was good.
But you know, in that same vein, I don't think that a lot of people realize that employers are also looking at this information when they're
Oh,
hiring people and
absolutely.
saying, you know, I want to see what they're up to when they're not at work.
College admissions.
Yep.
Think
Oh,
about
wow,
it.
yeah.
Very true.
A kid who looks good, right? His yearbook quote is perfect. He went through school smiling. Everybody loved this kid. They're going to look at in your closet, and they're going to look at your Facebook and your social media data, and they don't do it. They don't take the time to go through each person's thing. They hire companies that compile this through filters, and they find out everything they want to know in 5 seconds.
Wow. So keep it clean and set those privacy settings.
Exactly.
All right, this is great information.
This was great information.
Gotta
My
go.
mind is
Infinity times infinity.
infinity times infinity. Exactly.
You guys
First of all, I love that you got that joke.
Thank you, Paul. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. You're watching the Rise Entertainment 360.